let me tell you, I was over church. I felt that, those days were behind me. I'm Tara Malarski, and Kansas girl, born and raised, always raised in a Christian home. Funny story is my daddy, he had me convinced at a young age that if he walked into a church that lightning would strike him down, and I literally believed that. So it was my mother that kind of led us spiritually. Literally, I was raised on dirt road, and we went to a country schoolhouse, an old country schoolhouse church. Those people formed such a bond that my mom calls them her heart sisters to this day. It's a great example to live, but I remember going to different churches, with my mother because she wanted to give us opportunity that we weren't going to get on that dirt road. And so we would go into a church in town, and I remember after services, my mother would go, "Not one person shook my hand. I will not be going back to that church." So on one rainy Sunday in November, I decided to try out Fellowship of the Parks in Bedford. And I sit in the back, and the first thing I notice is the men are standing, they are worshiping, they have their eyes closed, they are laying it down for God, and that was such a sight for me to see. So after the service, I almost reached the door, and here, I don't know where he came from, but here comes Tim, and he is just huffing it to me with his hand out to shake it, right? And he's going, "Hi, I'm Tim Palmer. I'm so glad you were here today," and my thought in my head was he was raised by someone like my mother, and he knew by the time I reached that door it was game over, right? Game over. It was just really kind of comical thinking back on it, but that is what brought me to Fellowship with the Parks. But if you would have asked me when I came in that rainy November Sunday if I would be working with kids and I would be co-leading a small group, and I would be, in such a family that I didn't know I was missing. I mean, I didn't know any of that walking through that door that day. There was no way I fathomed that. Let me tell you, I was over church. Been to church all my life, and I felt that I was the church, which I am, but I felt that, those days were behind me. And I had raised my kids, and I didn't want that. But then I had these adult kids that didn't prioritize church, and I wanted a place where they wouldn't feel judged, that they could get involved, and they could have that sense of community. And then I was able to go to mega camp with 5 of my grandkids last year as a leader, and talk about experience, all those years of going to church camp myself. I would have never have imagined that I would be a grandma going to church camp with a bunch of kids. I will tell you, it has been the most fulfilling time I have ever spent in church because I am here. All I would say is if you're looking and you're thinking, and don't think you have to know it all, or don't think that you know where you need to be, because God has that plan. And if you trust Him, it'll all fall in place like it did for me.